U.S. President Donald Trump is prepared to lift the restriction preventing the Ukrainian armed forces from launching strikes on Russian territory using American-made long-range weapons. Sources told The Wall Street Journal that he told Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky this at a meeting held on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York on September 23. At the meeting, Zelensky asked Trump to provide more long-range missiles and authorize the use of such weapons to strike targets in Russia. Trump responded that he was open to the idea, but made no commitments, U.S. and Ukrainian officials told the publication. According to The Telegraph and Axios, Zelensky requested Tomahawk cruise missiles, which have a range of over 2,400 kilometers. The publication sources said that Ukrainian officials will travel to Washington next week for talks with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. As a reminder, in an interview following his meeting with Trump, Zelensky said the U.S. president had responded favorably to his request for long-range cruise missiles, which would allow Kyiv to strike targets in Moscow. After meeting with Zelensky, Trump himself spoke unexpectedly optimistically about Ukraine's chances of regaining control over its territory within its internationally recognized borders. Trump said he fully understood the military and economic situation in Ukraine and Russia, and believed that Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, has every opportunity to fight and recover all of its territory in its original form. With time, patience, and financial support from Europe, and particularly NATO, restoring the original borders where this war began is a very real option. Why not? He added. The U.S. president went on to write that Russia had been pointlessly waging a war for 3.5 years that a true military force could win in less than a week, and that this made Russia look like a colossus with feet of clay. When the people of Moscow and all the major cities, towns and areas across Russia learn what's really going on with this war, that it's nearly impossible for them to get gas because of the long lines that form, and all the other things that are going on in their war economy, where most of their money is being spent fighting Ukraine, which has a great spirit and is only getting better, Ukraine will be able to get their country back to its original form and, who knows, maybe even go further. Trump added. The American president believes that Russia, and Putin in particular, are in deep economic trouble, so now is the time for Ukraine to act. At the same time, he wished both Ukraine and Russia all the best. We will continue to supply weapons to NATO so that NATO can do with them whatever it wants. Good luck to everyone. Trump concluded. President Donald Trump said Friday a deal on Gaza is very close, and predicted his Department of Justice's indictment of former FBI Director James Comey is just the beginning. According to Associated Press speaking to reporters on the South Lawn of the White House as he departed for the Ryder Cup, Trump said the U.S. is close to achieving a deal on Gaza that will get the hostages back and end the war. I think we have maybe a deal on Gaza, very close to a deal on Gaza, Trump told reporters on the White House lawn. This is far from the first time Trump has said a Gaza deal is close. He's repeatedly suggested that an agreement to calm Israel's war with Hamas is imminent, only to have nothing to show for it. Weeks ago, he said, I think we're going to have a deal on Gaza very soon. And Trump has made similar pronouncements before and after that. Trump also defended his Justice Department's indictment of former FBI Director James Comey and warned, there will be others. The president dismissed suggestions that Comey was being charged as part of a broader retribution campaign, insisting the indictment is about justice, not revenge. Still, he warned, there will be more. It's not a list, but I think there'll be others, the president told reporters on Friday as he departed the White House. Trump said these were corrupt, radical left Democrats and accused his political opponents of weaponizing the Justice Department. Saying, I hope others will be charged, Trump also brushed aside concerns that a future Democratic administration could use its powers to go after Trump and his allies. Well, that's what they tried to do, right? They did it with me for 4 years, they went after me, Trump said. He later added, it's about justice, it's not revenge.
I'm going to go for a little while to represent the United States at the Ryder Cup, which is very exciting. And we'll be watching that. This is Kai, by the way, in case you didn't know. How are you? And we'll be watching a little golf. I think we have maybe a deal on Gaza, very close to a deal on Gaza. How are you? Hello, Peter. And it's looking like we have a deal on Gaza. And we'll let you know.
Mr. President,
I think it's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal with, it's going to be peace. I think we have a deal. That'll be number 8, Peter. Not there.
Mr. President, I'm James Comey. Now that James Comey has been indicted, who is the next person on your list in this retribution?
It's not a list, but I think there'll be others. I mean, they're corrupt. These were corrupt, radical left Democrats. Because Comey essentially was he was worse than a Democrat. I would say the Democrats are better than Comey. But no, there'll be others. Look, that's my opinion. They weaponized the Justice Department like nobody in history. What they've done is terrible. And so I hope there are others, because you can't let this happen to a country.
And will you appoint a permanent U.S. attorney to try this case? Lindsey Halligan has never tried a case.
Well, we'll see, but it's a pretty easy case because, look, he lied. You saw my truth today. He lied. It was yes, no. He didn't say, well, in my opinion, he didn't do a lot of things that maybe he should have, but I don't think he could because he lied. That was a very important question that he was asked, and he wanted to be specific, but he didn't. The only thing that happened to him, he didn't think he'd get caught. But that answer that he gave, that was a very important answer, and it was for him, it was a very good answer if he didn't get caught. But he got caught lying to Congress.
How is this not politicizing the
President Trump, are you worried now that the next time there's a Democratic president, they will indict your FBI director or people in your administration?
That's what they tried to do, right? They did it with me. For 4 years, they went after me. They went after me for 4 years, and that doesn't include the 4 great years that we had in the White House.
Because that's how it went, where they made you go and take a mugshot. Is this more about justice, or is it about revenge?
It's about justice, really. It's not revenge. It's about. It's also about the fact that you can't let this go on. They are sick, radical left people, and they can't get away with it. And Comey was one of the people. He wasn't the biggest, but he's a dirty cop. He's always been a dirty cop. Everybody knew it. And it's, as far as the case is concerned, he gave an answer. It was a strong answer. He then verified it a couple of times because that was a very important answer. If he would have equivocated, if he would have been like a little bit less sure, that would have been very bad for him. So he gave an answer. The only problem is for him, he didn't think he'd be caught, and he got caught, Peter.